listening to Holy Sync Radio Podcast. Today's podcast, Led or Just Living, Part 2, Following What You Can Finally Hear.
Welcome back to Holy Sync Radio, where we learn to tune out the noise of the world and tune into what's real, what's true. I'm Thomas, and I'm here with Nilsa, and today we're picking up where last week left off.
And last week was a real one. We talked about noise and how God doesn't yell. He whispers. And if you missed it, go back and listen before this one.
Because today we're going one step further. Last week the question was, can you even hear him? Today the question is, once you can, are you actually following? And those are two completely different things. Galatians 5:25 says, since we are living by the Spirit, let us follow the Spirit's leading in every part of our lives. And that phrase, every part, that's where it gets uncomfortable because it's easy to follow God in the areas that are going well, the areas where his leading already lines up with what you wanted to do anyway. But that's not really following, that's just agreeing. Following means you move where he's moving, even when it's inconvenient, even when it doesn't make sense yet, even when you'd rather go a different direction. And here's the thing that I think a lot of people miss. There's a real difference between believing in God and being led by him. Believing is knowing he exists. Being led is living like he's actually in charge. Because even the demons believe in God. James says that plainly. They believe and they tremble, but they're not following him. So belief alone isn't the goal. Being led is.
So what does being led actually look like? Day to day?
It's usually not dramatic. That's the thing most people don't expect. It's not always a burning bush moment. Most of the time, it's a nudge, a check in your spirit right before you say something you shouldn't, a pull towards something you've been putting off for weeks, a door that won't open no matter how hard you push, and then another one that swings wide open when you weren't even looking for it. That's what being led feels like. It's quiet, it's consistent, and you learn to recognize it over time, but only if you're paying attention. And what does it look like when you're not being led? You're still moving, still busy, still getting things done. You might even be doing things for God, but you're running on your own agenda, your own timeline, your own strength, and you call it faith. But really, it's just hustle with a prayer attached.
Hustle with a prayer attached. Yeah.
I've lived that. I know exactly what it feels like from the inside, because from the outside, it looks the same. You're working hard, doing things that matter, but something underneath is off. Something feels thin. And if you felt that, you know what I'm talking about. Peace is usually the indicator. When I'm actually being led, even when things are hard, there's something settled underneath it, like I'm on the right track even when I can't see the whole path yet. When I'm just operating on my own, I might be productive, but I'm restless. I'm pushing. I'm forcing. And I keep waiting for a feeling of clarity that never quite comes. And I want to be real about something. Because I said it briefly last week, and I think it needs more room today. I've been in that restless place lately. I've been busy working on the radio, trying to move things forward, building what I feel called to build. And I kept going, kept showing up. But something started feeling off, like the connection wasn't as strong, like I was doing a lot, but walking with God less.
And that's hard to catch when everything around you is still moving.
That's exactly what makes it dangerous, because you can be doing work that matters and still drift. You can be building something real for God and slowly stop actually walking with him. There's a difference between working for God and walking with God. And it's easy to blur that line, especially when the calling is real, the work is real, and the people you're trying to reach are real. But God doesn't just want your output. He wants you. What made me realize it was this. I hurt my throat, and I can't sing right now. Singing is one of the main ways I connect with God. It's where something in me opens up that doesn't open any other way. And when that got taken away, I didn't adjust. I just kept moving. This weekend, the choir was up at church, and I couldn't be part of it. And if I'm being honest, that hurt more than I expected it to. And I think that's where the distance started creeping in, not because God moved, but because the way I usually reach him got interrupted. And instead of slowing down and finding another way to connect, I just filled it with work
Instead of being still.
instead of being still. And I said last week that being still is hard, but I want to go deeper on that today. Because it's not just that life is loud. Sometimes we make it loud on purpose, because quiet means you actually have to sit with yourself. And sometimes you don't want to hear what's in there, so you fill it with work, with noise, with anything that keeps you moving fast enough that you don't have to deal with what's underneath. And what you don't deal with doesn't go away. It waits. And it usually shows up sideways in your attitude, in your relationships, in the way you react to small things that shouldn't hit that hard. So if you're listening right now and you feel like you've been doing a lot, but walking with God less, here's what coming back actually looks like. It's not complicated, it's just uncomfortable. You slow down, you get honest, you stop filling every minute, and you create actual space, even if it's 10 minutes in your car before you walk into work. You don't perform your way back to God, you just return. Like the prodigal son, you come back, and he's already running toward you, not with a list of everything you missed, just running, because that's who he is, and that's where being led starts again, not in some big dramatic moment, in the quiet return.
So the challenge this week.
Don't just turn down the noise. Actually follow where he leads when the quiet comes. Notice the nudge. Notice the check in your spirit. Notice the open door and the one that won't budge no matter how hard you push. And if you've been drifting, you don't need a dramatic comeback. You just need to come back. One quiet moment, one honest prayer, that's enough to start, because his voice was never gone. You just got too loud to hear it.
This is Holy Sync Radio. Thank you for spending your time with us today. If this conversation encouraged you, share it with someone who might need it. New episodes drop every Saturday. You can find us at holysyncradio.com and on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Also available on the Apple app for download.
Until next time,
Keep your heart soft and stay in sync.
and remember, God loves you.